The woman has taken over any conversation of breakdancing, and she's been going on a week now, taking over any conversation of breakdancing. Yes, everything she did was legal, but
This is Show versus Business, where pop culture meets pop money with your host, the real Theo Harvey and Mr. Benja. So, Mr. Benja, what's been going on?
oh man, so much has been going on that we're going to talk about it as we always do on this show. Hey man, I'm having a good time, man, and D23 just happened, so I have even more good news, and we got some more Olympics. I don't want to call it fallout, but some more Olympics information came through with your girl Raygun, Snoop Dogg, and big news on LA 2028. So still got some fun times there, but we're really going to be getting into Disney and what we have to think about, what we think about what they've been doing and their shenanigans. I don't know, maybe I might get a little truthful in that section. Star Wars. Let's see what else we got. And we got $1,200 cow being sold. This is another art project by Mischief. They're the guys who brought you Lil Nas X Satan shoe and the Holy Water shoe and the Big Red boot. So just gonna throw those in there a little quickly. Some really interesting little bits here and there. Kamala Harris and Walls might pop up. Interstellar might pop up. A couple other things, but for the most part, we got D23. What's up with Marvel? What's up with Star Wars? What's up with the parks and the attractions? What's happening in Disney? So you are a Disney guy. How does all that sound to you?
Man, you know what? I think I'm excited about this one. I
Ooh.
think this is the one that's going to break the internet for us. So, we're going to see. We're going to see. Oh,
I wouldn't go that far.
I take. So, but before I get into all that, Mr. Benja, let's talk about a little show that could. Have you ever seen the Umbrella Academy?
I liked, season 1, I really did.
It's at season 4, so did you just stop at season 1, or was there a reason why that you never watched the other seasons?
No, I watched season 2, and did I watch season 3? I would've remembered season 3 if I watched it. No, I didn't watch season 3, and you say season 4 just wrapped up. I heard nothing about season 4.
Mm. So, yeah, this is a little show that could, man, based on a great comic book. I read the comic book, like, years ago and really enjoyed it. It was just an offbeat type of comic book, just about this weird family of basically superheroes, but they had a weird way of how they were born. It just mysteriously appeared in the world, and their adopted father turned them into a team. And then we follow them as 20 years after that they broke up, and now they're living as adults and trying to figure out how they're going to get together again. So yeah, season one, it was just a weird show. I watched it. Come to find out, shout out to one of our listeners, Mama Karen. She, grandmother of two, she enjoyed that show. And so I was like, so this show appeals to the folks like you and I who may like genre storytelling,
Mhm.
superheroes, but also to older grandmothers or just other people in general. And so when I looked into it, yeah, it was just a great show. It's about family, about diversity of everybody in the cast. Be honest with you, it's representative of anybody that you may have met, of different nationalities are shown, different type of people, but they're a family. And if you ever come from a big family, dynamics are hilarious of how they
Oh, yeah.
treat each other and do things. And so that's what kind of stuck with me when I watched the show. And just it's just a funny show and just an interesting show. And so, yeah, season one, I think, was a breakout hit for Netflix. So much so, as you can see, it was such a breakout hit that it made season four. And a lot of these TV shows do not make it that far in Netflix land. So
Right,
kudos to
right.
them. But yeah, so I think season two was pretty decent. They went back in time to the Kennedy assassination. Season three had a great premise where they went to a parallel world where they didn't exist and they saw counterparts of themselves. So it was
Okay.
interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking back the recaps now. I did watch season 3. Okay. I was
Okay,
I was
there
I
you
was
go.
I was muddling them all together somehow.
So, but at the same time, yeah, you don't recall too much about what happened in season two and three. I would say this season three, mild spoilers, kind of peter out a little bit for me, but
Uh-huh.
I felt like the beginning was really hot. And rumors were that Netflix wanted to cancel the show. And I guess the showrunners said, hey, can we please get it back and keep it going? And so, luckily for them, they were able to get it back going again. And so they did a shortened season four for the Umbrella Academy. And yeah, high level, Mr. Benja is not that good. I would say that it's
Oh,
I
oh.
think they tried to squeeze a little too much in there. We'll probably maybe we'll do a spoiler if you get a chance to watch it. Maybe we'll go into more detail,
Mm.
but I would say this show had really I don't know, Netflix had something on his hands. I know they love Stranger Things and they're trying hyping that as their big thing. Of course, Squid Game is coming back out. But I tell you, this is a special little show because there are some diehard fans to this show. Everybody can see themselves in this, no matter what part of the world you live in, and the fans are out there. So just go YouTube, Umbrella Academy. You'll see videos of the cast meeting fans. You
Yeah.
meet doing things with puppies, and this is not a great season, but they're out there. And be honest with you, the cast interactions are better than the show. So I'm like, man, this they have something special here, man. And the fact that the cast of me is such a big cast of 7 kids all hanging together or 7 adults who grew up as kids. It just I think they had something special. I don't know why Netflix didn't wanna keep this going, and so it's just weird to me to see this kinda get shuttered down so fast in effort of Netflix's bottom line. So, I don't know, but they saw the numbers, maybe they thought it was too much to keep this show going at
Yeah.
such a level, but I think it was beloved by a lot of fans out there. If you just do Google searches, and to your point, you may not have heard a lot about it, but go to YouTube, man. Just type in Umbrella
Okay.
Academy season 4. Of course, you'll
Yeah.
see some a lot of reviews that's not positive, but you also see a lot of the cast still out there doing a lot of interactions and stuff, and just amazing to me.
No, that's very cool. I think it had a good premise for a world. Everyone's always talking about universe, a big world, and how do you extend the brand and all that. I think the Umbrella Academy really had a solid they had a solid base where they could build from, and it's always hard to do because the first thing some exec says is, "Hey, how do we spin off?" And spinning off is never as successful as something else that kinda exists in parallel and builds its own vibe, builds its own audience. So you have these sibling kind of shows going on. And Marvel obviously did that easily enough because it had its Marvel shows, its Marvel comics, its old TV shows, old movies, and the new ones. There's all this rich history that doesn't necessarily rely on one or two individuals. In fact, you've got the whole X line that still hasn't even been launched. And it's like, how do you do something like that with the Umbrella Academy? And I don't think Netflix is thinking in terms of, hey, let's start with a bunch of books and a bunch of stories and build up this base. They're like, hey, we got numbers. It's been working for us. If you ain't dealing with the numbers, get out my face. Leave the office.
Yeah, and that's just Netflix way, man. They go all in for it. And it's just one of those things that Netflix is always looking at those numbers, right? And that to them, if it's cost too much to keep, and maybe that's probably what it was. Maybe the cast is too big and they wanted too much money. But very talented actors, man, coming from all kinds of walks of life. So it's, I think the only person that everyone knew on the cast initially was now Elliot. I'm sorry, Elliot Page. Thank you. Yeah, previously Ellen Page, and he did was well known, obviously, in circles, did great movies and TV shows and showed up on this TV show, Netflix, and that they were probably the famous person of the bunch, but everyone else came to their own. And so it was this one little quirky show that could and always enjoyed it, man. But just sad to see it go out like that, a little bit of whimper. So maybe you'll check out the season 4, maybe we'll talk about it. But I just wanted to give you a heads up on the Umbrella Academy and my thoughts on what was going on there with them. Side note, so it was written by Gerald Way and illustrated by Gabriel Ba. Yeah, that's how you pronounce it. And Gerald Way used to be the lead songwriter or vocalist for My
I know
Chemical
this.
Romance.
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
That's funny. That's where
So
a lot of the fans came from. I remember reading, I love the music and da da da. I'm like, what is this? Why? And this My Chemical Romance.
yep, he wrote it. And so he created it, American, songwriter and all that. And then Steve Blackman, excuse me, he took it over and wrote it, and he's not to be confused with the American professional wrestler Steve Blackman, also known as the Lethal Weapon from WWE time. But anyway, so it's this quirky little genre show, man, is being written by maybe a professional wrestler and a
Of
American singer, man.
It's funny, people that are outside of the normal box, if you have everyone in Hollywood doing something and then all of a sudden you bring in a musician or you bring in somebody from stage or a physicist even. It's, "Hey, what about all these ideas?" And they're all like, "Oh my god, what's going on?" And it's the same way that Rockstar Games, they came from the music industry and came into games, "Hey, we're gonna do things this way." And it was such a powerful force that it shot them to the top of the charts, and I tell people there's no way you're just gonna create a Rockstar game because it's not possible. Your stock is coming from somewhere else.
And that's to your point. You hit the nail on the head. You have to be unique to your core, or whoever that is, and then create something out of that. Because that's the only thing that's going to be unique enough to stand out. And it's gonna be easy for you to sustain because that's just core who you are, to your point. And so that's why the best ideas sometimes come from outside if people are true to their core. But The Martian, right? That's high sci-fi. It's written by a guy who's a scientist, right? You read The Martian in that great movie with see his face. I can't remember his name right now. He's done pretty good with all these actors. But it's definitely one of those things that was very sci-fi heavy, but it's written by someone who was a scientist. So yeah, man, more to co I love quirky individuals. I love that.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I told you how I was talking about your boy Benjamin Hardy, and I ended up looking at his back catalog. And last week I mentioned I found the book Slipstream Time Hacking. And
Yes.
in that book, he talks about Interstellar. And oh, why you laughing? Why you laughing, dog?
Let's do it.
It so that rabbit hole is deeper than I thought. It's like an Inception rabbit hole. I went deep and then went deeper, and then I think I'm still going deep. I'm lost in the deepness of it. But quantum physics is in there. We got your boy
Love it.
Neil deGrasse Tyson speaking on it, and it's just funny to me now because I'm watching this and getting into this vibe, and I watched it with the idea of self-improvement, this which is the Benjamin Hardy angle, and not from a science fiction point of view. So I'm watching this and I'm like, "Holy crap, I could travel in time." And if anybody would have stopped and asked me a question, like when I was in the mode and reading this book, they would have thought I was crazy. But one of the things, and let me tell you how it goes. One of the things that Benjamin Hardy said was from his book, when explaining these concepts to people, the most frequent response is, "But I thought time flew when you were having fun." Because he states that time doesn't fly when you're having fun. What's actually happening is it's an abnormality in our life, and that abnormality speeds by quickly, and then we get thrown back into our regular life and we think, "Hey, time flies when you're having fun." It's no, you should be having fun all the time. And the people who are having fun all the time are just sitting around happily for decades and they feel great, while you are just speeding through the fun times and you're lost in on some planet that has a really fast time. Oh my God, what's happening? And then all of a
So
sudden you're,
so again, I say it succinctly. So basically time slows down
Mhm.
when you're having fun. It seems. It stops for you because it's the fun you're having. But when you're taken out of that, then it starts speeding up again because you're in that regular droll. Is that a better way of approaching it?
Yes, you're in the regular droll. So his idea is to basically keep on finding these wormholes, set up wormholes for yourself. And it gets into the whole future self thing. If you've seen Interstellar, what I'm playing at, the wormholes and looking out for your family, your friends, yourself, make sure everyone around you is moving quickly. It's a weird relationship that he's got with this book, but yeah, I'm in that rabbit hole and I'm personally building a wormhole actually out in my backyard. It's gonna be pretty awesome when you see it. I'd love for you to. I'm not even sure I can get it on camera because light gets sucked in and everything, but it's gonna be awesome.
Just sit off the side to the left. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah,
James,
man,
we're gonna
but
put that in, man. Just we're gonna tag wormhole. Yes, we want that story in there. I love it, man.
don't live a droll life and just be sitting around thinking that, "Oh, when am I gonna get to the next whatever?" Because 'Cause you're letting time slip by you. That's the key.
I love it. It's like you can see the formation of some of his later ideas in these earlier books. And so when you read authors and they go, let's say, have 20 books, you can see the formation of some of the ideas or characters that they were
Mhm.
trying to build for decades before they finally built it out. That building in public. Some people don't do that, or maybe they have stuff and they just never published it or
Yes.
have it out there. So it's interesting to see him going that high sci-fi. But I think the thing with him too, with Dr. Benjamin Hardy, he was a blogger too for a while. So I think he had like
Yeah.
a massive following on blogging that
Mhm.
kind of helped him parlay that into the writing career that he wanted. But I'm sure he was talking
That was
about these.
intentional.
Yes. I'm pretty sure it was. So I think he probably checked that idea out with the blogiverse back then, and back in those days, yeah, you could say whatever you want in blogs, man. So they're like, "Yeah, yeah, say more." Interstellar came out. Let's talk about it. Yes. I miss those quaint times, man. The early 2000s, man, blogging was all the rage. You just read a bunch of blogs. Ain't it cool news? You remember those days?
Oh, yeah. The
Just you know,
superficial.
yeah, man. Just going back, I still read some of that stuff. Like I used AV Club and things like that, IGN, but it's not the same anymore. They're just basically marketing sites now. Oh, look at this picture from Iron Man 2, or look at
Yeah,
this new. But they used to just really have some opinions and things to that nature. Every now and then they have some stuff, but yeah, now you gotta go to the internet, the YouTube, right, to get some more critical thought and perspectives,
interesting.
I
Wait,
think.
you're totally right, you're totally right.
So, speaking of wormhole, I just want to cover this real quick. In space, Mr. Benja, they no one can hear you scream. Exactly. I am talking about the famous tagline for the movie Alien. Mr.
Yeah.
Benja, I went down the rabbit hole of the Alien verse, and it blew my mind. I just
I cou
watched one video,
I couldn't follow
a
that link.
25-minute video. It was a 25-minute video about everything about the xenomorphs and the engineers and Wayland was a Tatani. Is that the name of the corporation? Wayland Tatani Universe and Late Stage Capital. I never knew, Mr. Benja, that this crazy movie about this creature, basically a creature in the house movie, but set in space, has
Yeah,
a whole mythology around it. It's just
it's
crazy
huge.
for no reason. Oh, we'll maybe talk about another time or detail. The reason I'm bringing this up, Alien Romulus, the latest Alien movie is out and it's
Mhm.
under the Disney brand, right? Because they bought Fox over and it's getting some good traction. It might do pretty well. And so we might be seeing these movies for the end of our life, man, because these movies are still going strong. But just high level, what were your thoughts about the Alien movies in general? Prometheus and all the crazy mythology that goes into this.
Actually, you just think of it as, whatever, alien movie until Prometheus. Then I was like, "Okay, okay, they're touching on some stuff here." And I don't Yeah, man, those videos, they go deep, and there's a whole lot to it, and you start wondering, like, "Where are you getting all this stuff?" And then people were talking about some book they read, and there was some convention and unreleased script that was
No, you don't understand. The xenomorph queen, she has 8 babies, and she was created by android David before he was on the Prometheus. Yeah, it's like that.
yeah, deep stuff. No, I like them. I think it's a cool world. It's phenomenally less human than most series you get into. Usually there's some kind of it's obviously got the corporations involved, but it's very much alien stuff is happening and there are humans around. So
Yeah, I got a personal connection to these movies. Shout out to Uncle Rico, played Private Lieutenant Frost, one of the black people first killed the first 10 minutes of Aliens. Thank you,
nice.
James Cameron. But guess what? Uncle Rico, I hope you don't mind me say this, but I know you're still eating off of alien conventions. So kudos to you. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. But yeah, definitely. My uncle actually is, and go look up Rico Ross, Lieutenant Frost, man. He is doing this thing and funny, yeah. He'd tell us stories about just being on the in cast and just working with James Cameron and just how gung ho he was about making this like action movie and all that. And have you ever seen Aliens, which is a sequel to the classic simple horror film Alien? Aliens is like a whole nother movie. This is an action film. We got guns. We're gonna shoot the alien in the mouth. We're
Yeah.
gonna yeah, fire. Game over, man. Game over. So it's just
Like, whoa.
yes, it's fun time. Matter of fact, true story. I one time, so it was 8th grade in middle school. I had to do a speech. So I said, I'm gonna do a speech on aliens. My uncle's in it. So I put the movie on and I was supposed to do a speech about, I guess, what it meant to be a hot action movie or something like that. And then so I did it. And everybody clapped. They loved it. And then my teacher gave me a C. I said, "Why did you give me a C?" She said, "Because all you did was play a movie." So I was like, "No." So Yeah,
Man,
man. Yeah, I know. Just hating. Don't hate, Teach.
he
Mrs. Drake. I'll call you out on this. I don't care. Mrs.
oh,
Drake. Yes, but guess what? She was cute though. We all had a crush on her, so I said, "Okay, Mrs. Drake." So yes, aliens, man. It's part of my family, but I didn't know it was that deep. So there you go.
yeah, man, there's a lot of deep stuff. I'm not even gonna get into anime deep because
No,
whew, let's not do that yet. But, on other news, you were talking about, Kamala a little bit. What's she up to?
Kamala. And Tim Waltz, right? Yeah, guys, I know we keep saying we don't talk politics, but we do. We just have to say a few things, man. Especially when it comes to how they're positioning themselves from a marketing standpoint. It's always fascinating to me. So obviously, Kamala is trying to make her imprint known. We talked about her rise on TikTok, talking about coconut trees and other things, and so people are loving that.
I got some new albums.
Yes, talking about albums and Aretha Franklin and her love of music. But yeah, her and Tim Waltz had to sit down together in Detroit, just talking about music, man, and just shooting the shit. And so it was the opportunity for them to, get to be known by folks on the internet. So this is interesting. Every election is always different, right? What media are the candidates using, right, to get their messages out, to sway the populace? Yes, Obama used Facebook effectively, right, to get his message out. Yes, what's his name? Trump used Cambridge Analytica, right, to get the data to help
Mhm.
sway voters. And of course, a little thing called the hack helped him. Then in 2020, during the pandemic, basically, Biden basically had to do anything but just show up on a few speeches from just say, don't, I'll save America and don't be scared. If you don't vote for me, it's the end of the world as you know it, right?
You
So
ain't
now we
playing.
have Kamala who's trying to pivot to a more positive messaging. And so using a lot of social media to portray herself as one of the people, right? She just had an economic speech the other day not too far from my mother-in-law where she lives, talking about in Raleigh, North Carolina, talking about the economic package she puts together. She worked at McDonald's in high school, right? And so just showing she's one of the people and using video and Instagram and YouTube and all that to get that messaging out is very insightful. And she has done none, no, any at all interviews with the press at all. This is all she's done. And so it's amazing to me that she's just leveraging social media to its power. So go shout out. And I don't know if you noticed, Mr. Benjamin, but it seems like everybody, and I think it was always like this, but maybe I'm just paying attention more because I'm on it. Seems like everybody who's anybody, you got to have some kind of YouTube thing. Like Arlen Hamilton, she was a VC investor. I don't know if
A
you remember
YouTuber.
her. Yeah, she created a YouTube channel on her own and she's got like hundreds of thousands of followers just like that. But I was like, I thought she was just doing the VC thing. No, she's just a brand, just telling people how they can get $2,000 like
Oh, okay,
in
like that.
2 days.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's just like, what is going on? Everybody got a channel, man. What is and then the podcasters, they're all on YouTube now. They like one I listen to all the time, the Ringer, they started to do their YouTube channel late to
yeah,
the game. But yeah, man, it's fascinating to me how the shift to video has been complete with anybody who's everybody they got. And if you're a brand like a Tom Brady, you just have a camera guy follow you around for 3 days in Paris. You don't do anything. You just sit there, hang with cool people. He asks you a few questions every time. That's content.
yeah,
And on to the next. So it's just and folks like this don't have to do it, but something tell me they may have to do it. I don't. We talked about Stephen A. Smith. He's doing that too. So I'm just and he's a broadcaster on ESPN. So Kamala and Tim Waltz doing a lot of these interviews like this, just interesting. I've been talking a lot here, but what do you think about this shift from all these public figures doing more of these kind of like videos and vignettes and things like that?
you know what? It's actually I think it's their I don't wanna say acceptance, but they're starting to leave old media behind faster than they were before, and the old not just old media itself as an entity, but the old media ways of doing things. You're like, "Hey, wait a minute. I don't have to do this. I can just go online and do a live stream." Oh, there was a big Elon Musk interview that happened. It was like 3 hours long, and it happened with Jordan Peterson. It didn't really show up on YouTube, but I go on X, hop back on, and everyone's talking on like, "The hell is this?" And yeah, it's right there embedded into X, and it's just got millions of views and all this. I'm like, "Oh, okay, people are just starting to go in their own little pockets." where they want, and it feels great. And I think I sent you a Vine link. Um, it was just talking about back in the history of how Vine. It was like they were doing 6-second videos, and right when they started to try to get brand deals individually as Vine stars, they came in, Twitter bought them and were like, "Shut all that down. We control the money." So, that was a microcosm of who controls the money and who controls the play, and are we gonna show you or are we not? And now it's, yeah, is NBC gonna do for me what YouTube can?
All the brands that we know that used to be on TV now, I think they all have their own YouTube channel. And so it's funny, it was like it was these guys that just came out of YouTube, Shapiro or what's his name? David, was it Patrick Bet
David, yeah.
yep. These guys just bubble out on their own out of the internet. But now you're seeing all the folks that on traditional TV set their own shops like Megan Kelly, all the sportscasters that I know, they all have their YouTube channels like Stephen A. Smith and other folks. So it's just funny to me how that's becoming like the go-to is, hey, I can't get Fox or MSNBC to pick me up. Well, I just start a YouTube channel. Roland Martin, he's exclusively on YouTube now. So it's just that is the way to go. And to your point, it's such a viable way because you can make money either if you're big enough brand, you get sponsors. By the way, if anyone wants to sponsor Show versus Business, send all inquiries to info at Show versus Business. You can get sponsors.
Yeah.
You can get average AdSense, right? If you have enough viewers, things of that nature, and you can do affiliate stuff. So it's so many different ways to do it, man. So yeah, it's interesting to see the politics because someone always said this. I think it was the guy that wrote Scorecard Marketing. He's from Britain. I'm drawing a blank. I told you about his book. I liked Oversubscribed. What's the guy's
Okay.
name? Yeah, I'll think of it later. But he says ultimate sense of where marketing is going is a US political campaign. If you see what they're doing, that's where marketing is going to be for the next 4 years.
Mm.
Because think about it, the whole goal of them is persuade you, influence you to do something that may or may not benefit you, but it's
Yeah.
just they convince you enough with the right marketing technique. And so if Harris and Waltz win by going all in on YouTube and doing that, I think that that's the way we need to go. We all in on for the future for marketing.
Yeah, and keep your eye out for some stories on alternatives because I there's something bubbling up because as YouTube becomes the dominant force in just visual media, you can look those numbers up. They're killing the visual format right now. You're starting to get these little outliers, and people are like, "Hey, my channel got shut down. All right, screw it. You can only find me on Patreon now. Okay, screw it. You can only find me on Twitch now." Now there are people who are doing X shows, as I said with Elon Musk, that are only doing it there now. Isaac Hayes has people on fan base. I popped over there and I was like, "Oh, so the people who make these Tubi documentaries, they all are hanging out on fan base and talking." I'm like talking to the director in this random room. Okay, cool. There's something happening there, and I think obviously YouTube is going to, once that shift to YouTube happens, I think you're gonna start seeing more from Rumble, Vimeo, X, whatever other divergent video platforms there are.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see what that is because I don't know if you can dictate. I see certain markets just bubble up around certain platforms, right? X
Mm,
seems like in Twitter seems to be just a media haven. So if you're a news writer, you're just going to be there
yeah,
because that's just for whatever reason, written word is just easier for them to digest. And they can do their own research separately.
yeah,
But fan base, maybe that's just a channel for people on Tubi or whatever. To their people. I'm just
yeah,
curious. So it's just I don't know I'm not saying you're not wrong, but these exclusivity things, I think it's just maybe more organic. I don't know. You're on Threads a lot. What
mhm.
kind of since you can't talk politics on there really, I'm curious to what kind of people are gravitating toward this channel and what you can do there
Uh,
and who's
Simone
helping.
Biles loves it. She's on there threading every day. She was just it's comedy. It's, "Oh, I followed her, and I thought she'd be like regular, just all, 'Hi, here's my picture. I did this,' and no, she's just, like, in there railing away like Fabulous was on early Twitter."
Okay. Like you said, everybody has their own platform, man. And man, I always say this, man, I need to get back on Threads, man. I know you've been heavily on it. Still loving it.
Yeah, it's funny. I've been only interacting with the people I know, And I think the Threads algorithm has started to reflect that. They're like, okay, we don't need to push them out to too many new people. So I have the same recurring group of people that I talk to, which is fine. I'm building my brand with them. But there's a definite strategy to going outside of that. And I'm noticing that in Instagram too. There's an internal with your friends strategy and an external to all the people strategy. Yeah, I'm definitely still on there though.
Okay. Yeah, it's like that with YouTube. We noticed that too with the shorts and stuff. That's like external kind of outreach. Hey, here, check this out. People go do it, and they may follow you, especially if you go viral, and the algorithm pushes you out more, and that gets you some of the people out there. Yeah, it's interesting. These platforms, man, as they evolve, we're evolving too. So kudos to that. Yeah, man.
Hey, did you ever do any breakdancing or breaking in high school or middle school or anything like that?
I did, Mr. Benja. I
Oh,
did. Yes. I grew up in LA, man. It's not New York, but LA was up there, man. You had to, you go try to talk to the girls in elementary school, man. You had to know how to do a little something, man. Look, lock in some the movements,
yeah.
something. Get on the ground, do a little something. I never forget. It was me and my boy. We were going to do breakdancing for the fourth grade elementary's talent show. So
Uh-huh.
we practiced our moves. We did all this stuff. And so the day of the trials came out to see if you're gonna make it. And don't you know this joker backed out. So my butt
Oh,
had to start break dancing by myself in front of the judges, man. I'm doing the worm, I'm doing all the moves. I tried to do
yes.
the hip hop locking and all that, man. And they said, "No, sit your ass down." So yes, I did not. That was my one attempt at breakdancing glory, and then I saw why because when I watched the breakdancing crew that did get up there, they
Uh-huh.
were amazing, man. I remember the shout out to Brandon Kono. He was amazing. He was like in my grade, but he was with all the fifth graders and sixth graders, and he was out there just doing his thing and with all the big kids. And I was like, yeah, I would have made that. So that was it, man. That was my experience of breakdancing. What about
Well,
you?
you know what, Theo? I applaud that. I was in breakdancing a little bit too, but whatever you did, I'm pretty sure it was better than Rachel Gunn's performance, aka Raygun from the Olympics. The woman has taken over any conversation of breakdancing, and she's been going on a week now, taking over any conversation of breakdancing for not only how I was about to say bad, not only for how unique her performance was, and I'm going to call it a performance, but apparently there's a little bit of under the table kind of action going on. Everything wasn't above board. It's with all these people in Australia, you're telling me they couldn't even get 16 qualifying people. What happened? Her husband has connections. She has connections. She started to get this thing built up. And then now she's complaining that people were hating on her and that everything she did was legal. Yes, everything she did was legal, but not necessarily cool. And I don't know if have you been following the story at all?
I have.
Yeah, so she's a PhD professor and studying breakdancing or breaking apparently and hip hop dance. And she gets on stage and people are like, "Well, wait a minute. Why did you get on stage when you could have brought other people on stage?" And that's where the problem is starting to come in at. Did you do this about you, or did you do this for the Olympics, or did you do it for the art of breakdancing, or did you do it for the people of Australia? Because there's a lot of concerns about throwing the entire culture of breakdancing under the bus so you could do this. And what's interesting is it may actually turn out to be a good thing because there's so much backlash. People are starting to actually look for good breakdancers. I don't know.
Yeah, man. It was weird that the Olympics allow breakdancing in the Olympics, but I said, shoot, right now the kids are excited. My wife, okay, we'll check it out. So we watched I guess a couple, I think it was France and India, a couple of sets. It was okay. It was passable. Yes, they did technically the moves. They're very athletic. They could do their
Mhm.
things. But it was something missing. And my wife said, oh no, I can't watch this anymore. So she shut that off and we watched Beat Street. The 1982 break breakdancing classic, if you haven't seen it. And then the kids were like,
Yes.
"Wow, this is phenomenal." So
Oh, you
it
had
was
the
just
kids
missing
watching
that.
the Olympics, and then they were like, "What is this?" And okay.
Yeah, no, yeah, we were, "What is this?" And then that's when we had to go watch the original to see the joy, the heart of what made this art form so powerful when it first
Yeah.
appeared. And so, 'cause there's something about not saying that, because I was telling someone, it's like, now with the internet and YouTube, you can be, in a small village in India and learn anything. You can learn skateboarding, you can learn breakdancing, right? You can learn nuclear physics, right? But is there's something missing with art if you're not just around the people, right, who know it, right? This I'm grandfather this. I just been born this way, right? And this I think it was missing that, and that's why we turned it off. Watch some actual break dancers from a time period where it
Yeah.
was relevant, and so that and once again, it's like the Tam is old, tale as old as time. It's like uniquely American breakdancing,
Mhm.
skateboarding, but then obviously the world has taken it on and it's just missing something, right? Basketball the same way, right? Created in America, they went to the world. Now, great, they're getting better. They may even surpass us, but
Yeah.
they're just missing that. There's something about American versions of stuff that's just a little bit cooler, a little bit more like in the from the earth, right? And
Yeah.
when, but when the other cultures get it, I don't want to dismiss like
No, we should
international people can't have that.
yeah, I wanna emphasize American, yes, but there's something even more special, I'd say, with Black American culture, but yes.
Yes, yes, definitely, yes. But even skateboarding, that's still
Yeah,
American
yeah,
culture,
totally,
right?
totally.
Built out of swimming pools in California, and these kids can had nothing else to do, and so this is stuff that's just genuinely Americana, and so with that comes a sense of every art form. Everything about America is always about risk taking, trying to stand out, try to be individual. And if you try to do this and you're coming from like Russia, do you really understand what that means to be an individual, to stand out?
Yeah,
Or if you come from Sweden where everything's homogeneous, that there's really no diversity in the culture. What does that mean to be a part of a culture when you don't know what being a part of a culture is, right? Or outside the mainstream. So I think there's a mentality that goes into some of these art forms that was just missing, and breakdancing was one example of that.
did I tell you about what my first trip to Europe as a kid? My parents were like, "Hey, we got this chance. Let's take the kids, and it's gonna be great." So they took 2 of us. We went down to we were in London at the time, and I remember my mother, she had something to do. There was a conference going on, and she was like, "I'm gonna go to this conference. Earl, you can stay here, and the kids play in the hotel for the afternoon, and we'll pick them up, and later on, whatever." So, basically, we had this free time, and there were a bunch of kids around the hotel. And were me and my brother, there was a TV room in the hotel, and all the kids were hanging out in the TV room. So me and my brother went in there, and they were just watching something on TV, and we looked around. My brother stood up. It was like, "Do you want to watch this?" I was like, "No." And then he looked around and asked everybody else, "Do you want to watch this?" And they were like scared to answer. And it's like, I was like, "All right." I found the remote. We just walked over and turned the TV. Everybody was like, they did something and they didn't ask, "Who are these kids?" And we were just like, "Yo, you can do what you want." And they were like, "No, we can't." And we realized that was happening all through, our trip through Europe as kids. So, we had a completely different way of thinking about the world and growing up
Yeah.
and dancing and trying things out.
Yeah, think about it, even democratic countries like Britain, there's
Mhm.
such a heavy class system, right? It's if you grow up in the middle class, you'll stay in the middle class, right? There's
Yeah,
no way you're gonna be MP or anything like that, or prime minister or anything like that. So it's America is so uniquely anybody feels like they could be the next, you know, Tesla, or they could excuse me, build the next Tesla, or
yeah,
create, or Elon Musk, or anybody, be a billionaire, or be the next LeBron James. Because there's so many stories in America, people came from nothing, right? That just came out of nowhere and became a superstar. So I think it's just that's what's missing in some of when to your point, is that freedom to I'm gonna create something that no one's ever done it before and have that gumption to do it. It's one thing
yeah.
for free to do it, but just regardless of what people tell you, you're gonna do it anyway. So I don't know. So anyway, that yes, this Raygun, shout out to her trying to do something different, but not
I
well.
I will I'm trying to choose my words here. I will recognized that she did bring a lot of interesting movement to the dance floor. The kangaroo hop was interesting, memorable. There was creativity there, but nevertheless, you got to score a 0. You should go home and rethink your life. Yeah, I was about to make an OnlyFans joke, but no. That's another story we had. Olympians are doing OnlyFans now. That was another story, and I'm not gonna make that joke about Raygun that she should have an OnlyFans. No, I will not say that. She's a respectable woman with the PhD, trying out new things. I respect that
Mm. You will respect it by not saying that.
by not saying that. Yes.
I love it. I
We
love
can
it.
we can move on. I'm sorry.
Well, wait, real quick, man. This is a crazy story, man. These Olympians out here on OnlyFans trying to get this money, man. And on one hand, I'm not mad at them. But on the other hand, I'm like, they shouldn't have to. I get it. There's so many Olympians and so many different sports. But at the end of the day, man, America's such a rich country. I don't understand why why I don't, yeah, it just boggles my mind. It's look, what you do, not we talked about Flavor Flav sponsoring the water polo, right? Star, right? All you gotta do is just get either you do it yourself or you try to convince somebody to sponsor you because you said, look, I'll create content of my workouts and stuff like that. And I think that should be enough to get you funding to do that. So I'll be surprised if not, if every since it's gonna be in LA in 4 years, I think every Olympian should get some kind of sponsorship kind of way, right? Maybe YouTube would sponsor them. Ooh, shout out. This is a great idea. YouTube should sponsor them and connect them with an influencer and they create unique content about the workout habits, what they eat. People eat that stuff up. I do. I'm watching old videos of Noah Lyles and how he's the
Yeah,
100 meter gold winner, the Olympian, watching his old stuff. He puts a lot of stuff out there though, too.
yeah,
He's showing how he has a chiropractor, right? Or how he has this and what he did when he was a kid. Because I have kids, I want to see if they want to be interested in track. So I don't know, man. It does seem like there's a missed opportunity here. Yes, you can get Delta and corporate America to sponsor like the big names and some of the smaller folks,
yeah.
but I think everyone like these social media platforms should sponsor every Olympian, especially it's going to be in America next year in 4 years.
Yeah, if we're talking about the basics, many of them, I'd say the majority of them have jobs. But we're talking about getting their rent paid. We're talking about getting their travel expenses paid, their the fees and registrations and memberships to say gyms and training facilities, coaching, all of that added up. It's not a small amount, but it's small enough to where it shouldn't be like this much of a thing where these Olympians are going around really struggling. I'm like, huh. And so I looked into it just a little bit, and yeah, the Olympics doesn't want a whole people get paid to do it kind of thing. It's like the NCAA, how they just don't
Mhm.
want to straight up run out and pay athletes. I get that, but there's got to be something done, and people can put forth money to help these people, these athletes who are putting their bodies on the line and their livelihoods, their mental health, their time.
Mhm.
I'm
Hours of
lying,
dedication.
years,
For
yeah,
for years for just one sport, right? That maybe a lot of people don't even watch, right? Unless she's like extremely dominant, like a Silly McLaughlin, Laverne, or what's that shot? Ryan Cozier, I think that's his name. The shot putter, right? He won 3 golds, right? So it's, unless you're like super dominant in that sport, it's like really hard to get recognized and do anything. And even if you are, people may not even care, right? He may be like the dominant triple jumper, and they're just like, who
eh,
cares?
eh,
So yeah, I think you're right, man. Especially if it's going to be here in the United States and all the Olympians, there should be a pathway where every one of them should get something, right? Or some kind of sponsorship package to help with training or something. So they don't have to go to OnlyFans and do what they do.
sad. It's not all sad. Some of these OnlyFans accounts are they're non-nude accounts where they're just showing off their fitness. There are some glamour shots, but many of them, I don't have a percentage or anything, but many of them aren't featuring nudity or anything like that. They're just, hey,
Yeah.
here's me in a swimsuit and doing my workout and exercise. Thanks for supporting. I think many of them are using OnlyFans because it's a little more salacious, and people who
Mm.
are in the OnlyFans sphere are willing to drop $20, $10 here, and drop tips faster. So monetarily, I think it just pays out better.
Yeah, that's a good point. But let's be honest, man. There's some thirst traps out there. And
Hey,
have you seen these Olympians,
hey,
man? You spend 6 hours in your body to look like that. Yes, it's
hey.
for a sport, but you're gonna have some looky loos, man.
Thirst trapping.
Because
Yes.
and they don't have to. It's not like there are, but it's just, dude. Do you see this of these track women? It's just this is what it is. This is what I
Yeah.
need. I looked it up, man. You have to build your gluteus maximus to get the
Yeah.
maximum amount of force to speed down the runway 100 meters. And that's just what it is. So yes, they're going to have that welly developed part, and so that's what that. It's just science, man. So science equals thirst traps.
Excuse me, why are you on OnlyFans? Hey, this is science, my friend. You get back to whatever lewd m part of the internet you came from. I'm here for science. That's gonna be great. What else is going on, my man?
Oh man. D23. We got some time. We may go over a little bit, James, but I think we're gonna talk a little bit about D23. I go a little bit longer, Mr. Benja, if we need to, but not too much though. But D23 and Disney earnings. We'll talk about D23. This is the what I think it's every year, a kind of annual conference where Disney comes out with all the great toys and the things that they're gonna build. Not sure for Marvel and Star Wars, but also for all of the animated features and things like that, but also stuff for the parks and what they announce and get people
Mhm.
excited. This Disney super fans, right? And then the same time they announced their earnings. So check this out. Disney made over 3 billion in profit last quarter. But 70% of those profits came from the parks.
Mm.
Can you believe that? Just going to the parks was a majority of their money. And this is Theo's thoughts. As a park goer, I can say that's absolutely true, man. They nickel and dime you for everything when it comes to trying to get access to rides faster or even food. Disney, they see the parks as their own ATM because it's spitting out so much money, right? It's so profitable for them. They can take the money from that area and feed it into losing areas like streaming for a long time. And so they always are squeezed. It's really an uh, accounting problem they're solving where they're trying to figure out how much can we squeeze, how much can we lower the experience and make as much money as possible without pissing out the fans. So I think
Yeah.
they're there now.
Mhm.
And so that's why they announced that they're going to spend 60 billion over the next 10 years for parks, right? Because they realize that people, and I can tell you, they've since the time I've been going to Disney World having passes, they only released like maybe three three rides there at Disney World. One is probably one of the best rides ever, which is Guardians of the Galaxy. The other two, Tron, just okay, and it just released Tiana's Palace or something, and they just reconfigured a Whitewater Splash, or what was it called? I forgot what it's called there, but it was okay. Just a reconfigured. They just put puppetronics with Tiana from the Princess and the Frog right up there. And then you go down a log and the splash is
Yeah.
just like Splash Mountain. Nothing
Yeah.
different. But that's not gonna get it, man. They gotta do more. And so they announced a lot of stuff at D23 around parks. But yeah, man, one other thing too, they have a profit now on streaming between Hulu, Disney Plus, and
Oh, oh.
ESPN. Yep. They made $47 million. Yay. Not a lot, but way better than the minus last year, minus 532 million in profit. So they were
Wait a minute.
negative.
How did they go from that? How did they make that big of a jump?
Man, it's called business, man. Business. They number one, you remember? Number one, they raised the prices of Disney Plus. I don't know if you remember that. Yep,
Mhm.
that helped.
That's why I
Obviously,
got out.
yep. They expanded the base,
Mhm.
right? Because not only did they get more with Disney Plus, but they got Hulu now on there. They integrated Hulu, so they can count that as money. And they got ESPN, which has some streaming stuff that people pay for. So that really helped, man. Those simple things can help a lot. And then obviously they cut costs, right? Remember all those projects that they had talked about they're gonna put on Disney Plus
Yeah.
and that we're gonna talk about that got probably the axe. Content is expensive, so they cut a lot in content. And so that looking at you, She-Hulk, maybe
Mhm.
they should have put some more money back in VFX. But yeah, so they and it looks like there's gonna be another increase for the service in October by $2. Yeah, so they are making a profit. Be honest, the stock is still down about 33% since April. We're
Yeah.
recording this in August. So they still got a little ways to go, but Iger looks like he stabilized things from a money standpoint.
All right. I was still wondering when they're going to really start connecting in a lot of their purchases with Disney Plus. Because I just heard news that Amazon was working with TikTok and other platforms to make it easy. If there's a somebody doing a TikTok dance, or they have the, I don't know what you call it, but when people are rearranging stuff in their refrigerator and they have all these cute little containers and things, and it's like, hey, you can buy this from whatever site. Forget that. As the TikTok is playing or whatever, there'll be a little Amazon button. It's like, "Oh, buy this right now," doop, and it automatically goes does the buy one the one what is it? The one click button? Buy
Mm.
one click buy. Yeah, integrate that into all sorts of streaming products, and TikTok was the biggest name on the list, obviously, but that's another way. I'm still thinking Disney's gonna do that at some point and really try to integrate Disney Plus into their shopping experience.
You know what? They do. Well, we weren't going to talk about this, but there was a story that came out about a gentleman. It's sad. It's a little sad too, but it's unfortunately Disney going Disney. His family signed up for Disney Plus
Mhm.
and then went to the parks
Right.
and unfortunately passed away from a nut. His wife, I think, passed away from a nut allergy. And so, even though after they asked the restaurant that were there any nuts in the food, and so they went to go sue Disney, and Disney said, "Oh no, you were waived all rights at the park when you signed up for Disney Plus." Huh?
Wild. That's
So
wild.
wait a minute. If you go look in terms and agreements for Disney Plus, it frees up Disney from any rights or any lawsuits at the parks. So to your point, they already have set the legal structure up to
Yeah.
combine the parks and other type of merch to Disney Plus and streaming services. So it's only a matter of time before the marketing catch up. But yeah, that's a sad story, unfortunately.
Yeah, they're gonna smooth that one over somehow, but that's wild. The fact that they could you're making that connection about what's happening on Disney Plus and what's happening in the parks, and then it's, "Wait, what else does Disney own?" And then you start wondering, "Gee, what else am I absolving myself of when I've got this service, Disney Plus, that connects to so many other Disney properties?" And if you haven't seen the big map of everything Disney owns, you might be surprised.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, good luck trying to get out from under that umbrella.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything here on this D23 schedule that you were interested in? We can talk high level about some of the stuff
Uh,
that you thought was interesting to you, at least.
yeah, Robert Downey Jr. still getting a sack of cash. It wasn't just the Doomsday Avengers movie announcement and having him come back as Doctor Doom. Hey, we might as well get him to reprise his role in the new rides at Disneyland. So not only will we get him in on the movies, we're gonna have him in on the rides, maybe put him in a popcorn bucket that we give out. Just keep sending that guy money because we love him.
New mask, new task, same mask. Was it different mask, same task, right? Man,
Yep,
same task is get that guap. That's what that task is.
basically.
RDJ, man, I ain't mad at it. He got his Oscar and he about to get this. He about to get this Billy. I'm not mad at him either, man. Wow, I didn't know that. He really is going to come back, and he wasn't cheap. Wasn't cheap for him to do that. You've been to these rides? I've been to Rise of the Resistance here in Disney World,
Mhm.
and you have the actors Oscar Isaac and Daisy Ridley, and John Boyega. They reprise their roles from the prequels and all that. I mean, this what they call the sequels or the sequels, the
Yeah.
recent sequels. And I'm sure they were not too expensive because I definitely don't see Mark Hamill nowhere near there. But I gotta believe Robert Downey Jr. that one cheap. So yeah, man, kudos to him, man, doing this thing and getting this money. Let's see. The thing that I was interested in was like, okay, like what shows and movies they're gonna announce. So they had to cast for. Let's see here. Oh, why am I drawing a blank here? What was the one really wanted to talk about?
Drawing a blank because they removed it. They didn't
Yeah,
write it.
they moved so many things. You're right. Wasn't missing from D23. So yeah, let's talk about Armor Wars. They didn't talk about that. That's what the Don Cheeto lead off with. They're gonna have all the different armors, right? They're gonna show up. What's the young girl that's supposed to take over Tony? Oh, Ironheart. That's the
Yeah.
other one. She's supposed to show up in that too. But the thing is, they didn't talk about they did have the cast for Ironheart there. So they had the whole cast there. So it looks like that's going through. Kudos to that cast and what they're gonna do there. No Young Avengers, Mr. Benja. Are you bummed about that? I know you were
No,
a
I am
Young
not bummed.
Avengers stan.
What? I was an Echo stan. Echo, that was it. Give me Echo, but you're talking about the Hawkeye spinoff, you're talking about the Pew spinoff from Black Widow. I wasn't convinced. All this other stuff, all these other spinoffs, Miss Marvel, lovely, great, fine, whatever. It just wasn't something I was peeping out for, except for Echo. Young Avengers, they never convinced me. I was looking more for West Coast Avengers, to be honest. But I was looking for Blade and didn't get that. Apparently, there's some shenanigans going on.
Yeah, I don't know if it's coming out, man.
Mm, Wesley
Especially
Snipes
after Wesley Snipes put that mojo on it in Deadpool Wolverine. You haven't seen it?
put
There's only
Mojo
gonna be
on
one blade.
it. Yeah.
Only gonna be one blade, sucker. Never bet on black.
Wonder Man was missing. Vision was missing. And Vision's supposed to tie into a lot with the Secret Wars and the future stuff. So I don't know what's going on,
Who
man.
knows? Yeah. They announced a few things we already knew. Some cartoons, or excuse me, animated features or TV shows with what's Eyes on Wakanda that's supposed to be coming out. So I'm interested to see what they're gonna do there. And of course, Marvel Zombies. We love zombies, so we'll see if that's gonna still how that takes. But yeah, man, I think it was okay. I don't think it was super exciting. They did announce some of the other shows and stuff like that that they were gonna announce. I think Moana cartoon, they're gonna have a live action Lilo and Stitch, if you care, Mr. Benja. They're gonna do but look, all these are classic Pixar or Disney animated features, and all they're doing is putting like a number behind it, basically. So
Yeah.
he got Toy Story 4, what 4? You got Mufasa, which is the prequel to Lion King. You got what's the other one? Oh, Incredibles 3, which is basically Fantastic Four anime version or Incredibles, yeah, 3. Yeah, because that was third one. So it's let's just run the hits, man. Iger, for all what can be said about him, man. He's a CEO through and through. He figured I gotta make money quick. Hmm.
Yeah.
Let me just do all the hits. Do it all over.
I gotta admit, the live action Lilo and Stitch has me intrigued.
Me too, man. That's low key one of the best Disney animated films.
And it wasn't supposed to be an animated film.
Exactly. And that protagonist, the little creature,
Yeah.
is the funniest thing, man. Every time I watch that show. You ever seen that man, that dude, he'll look at somebody said something to him one time, he just looked at him, he threw a shoe in his face. Just randomly for no reason. Just an a-hole, man. Just a-hole for no reason. And I love it. Yeah, no, so it's one of those shows that those cartoons that as I think Gen Z and millennials secretly
Yeah.
love. So we'll see how well that does. Star Wars, man. Are we excited? Does Star Wars have anything popping out, man, that we want to see that came from D23?
Nothing I heard, man. Nothing I heard. I didn't hear anything. The force is silent with this one.
Only thing they talked about was the new live action Skeleton Crew, which is like a kiddie show for Star Wars coming out
Uh,
this year. Sure. Andor season 2, which I guess is coming out next year, but great show. But we know what happens. Number one at the end, and they can only do one. It wasn't a highly rated show, but it's very well done. And
yeah.
then they talk more about the upcoming Mandalorian movie. Was it The Mandalorian Grogu? Are you excited about that movie?
Based on the title, no.
That's a sucky title, man. That doesn't we got Star Wars, A New Hope, The Phantom Menace, uh, Attack of the Clones. It's just like, man,
Yeah.
I need something that's
The Last
not
Jedi.
an epic.
Easy. Just
Yeah, I need an epic story. It's like you telling me, "Hey, let's go to Mandalorian. Hey, it's on a Tuesday. Let's go check them out." Nah, man. So all that goes to say is
the
this
dark
is
blade of
my
whatever, Beskar,
cool.
something, I don't know. You start keying in like that, and you're like, "Oh, wait, what is this? Oh, is that the
I
little girl?"
mean, low key, The Acolyte was pretty hot. It was a good title. It was I don't
That's
know
what
about the
that's what I was
show,
thinking. Yeah.
but the title was hot. It was a hot title. The Acolyte or the something like that.
This sounds like a Disney title.
What?
The Mandalorian and Grogu, now on Disney
Yeah.
Plus.
Look at getting shenanigans Goku gets into, but the Mandalorian won't let him get into it. Oh no! What's that? Curious George and the Man in Yellow Hat. That's what this
Yeah.
is. That's what it's going to be. Curious George and the Man in Yellow Hat. No, what have they done to Star Wars? No, Curious George, the curious little monkey.
Oh, man. I know James
This
loves
is
finding these clips.
Oh yeah, man. He's gonna find all these clips, man.
Oh my god.
This goes to say, man, this is I don't know, my yearly rant. I don't know about do you share this sentiment? But maybe you can go into it after I say, but man, Kathleen Kennedy, man, who runs Lucasfilms, she has basically took Star Wars and just drove it straight to Hades. It's I don't understand what she created and recreated or tried to create and now we're stuck. We have no movies coming out that are epic feeling. We had one success with The Mandalorian, but we're running that to the ground. It's what has she been doing for the last decade or so that she's been running Lucasfilm? And it's very upsetting, Mr. Benja. And I think that the rumor is she's trying to stay on till she gets a hit. I don't know if The Mandalorian Grogu gonna be that hit that she wants. Is that gonna make $1 billion with a title like that?
Nah,
I don't know.
nah, I just no, I'm not buying it.
Yeah. So one day,
Yep.
man, maybe we'll get Star Wars leaders we can believe in to get a Star Wars like we want. I don't know if we can, Mr. Benja. I think that the fan base has been so fractured now.
Yes.
It's so much discourse that even if somebody comes in and does a great story, people are gonna be upset. There's so many fractions now, right? You got the red pill. He had to say, but the red pilled fan base that there was not if it's too DEI focused, they're gonna complain. You got people on the other side is, wasn't focused enough on I can be seen. Then, with R2D2 being a lesbian, so there's no middle ground anymore, man.
It's
It's
unbearable.
sad. Yeah, I don't know. So anything else, man? I know we ran over a little bit longer, but I wanted to definitely cover D23 and our thoughts and stuff like that.
Oh man, that's all I got. I'm good with this one. I'm happy. There's plenty of stuff to go through in terms of Marvel and Star Wars and everything Disney. So I'll have a I'll have a good week just taking my time going through the interviews and all that business because there's a lot in every D3. So I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's too much this year. Mr. Benja, it's always a pleasure catching up. Hey, everyone. Thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, and comment at Show versus Business on X, YouTube, and Instagram. Listen to us at Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you listen to podcasts. You want to check out who we are, more about us, go check out our website at Show versus Business. Mr. Benja, have a great week, man.
Hey, and you have a great week. But don't forget, you can find us individually at Mr. Benja and the Real Theo Harvey on Threads. Just thought I'd throw that in there before I say
Peace.